Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build Paint Play. I'm Dave.
I'm Jake. Greetings, programs. Today we are joined by the fantabulous Owen Rehrauer, who will be here talking about a bunch of projects he has going on, and who is working on a new project, Sunshard Embren, which I think Dave and I have talked about before a couple times, but we're going to show off some more of that. I know he was doing demos at Nova, so if anyone got to see that, I know he showed off his beautiful table with the glowing crystal and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's what we're doing today, folks. So welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Like the show, so it's strange to be on this side of the screen for once, but hopefully I don't make too much of a fool of myself.
I think you'll be absolutely fine. You'll make just as much of a fool as we do of ourselves.
Yeah, it's a low bar. We'll be fine.
It absolutely is. So Owen is part of Immanetize Games, who are putting together. You've been working on Sunshard Embren for a few years now. Yep. And as well as coming on the show and chatting with us, Owen has hooked me up with a warband which we'll have a look at in a few minutes. But it's also sponsoring this episode along with our season sponsors, the Army Painter. So thank you very much for that, Owen.
My pleasure.
Super cool. I think we're going to do some fun stuff tonight. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. Something I didn't mention to Jake, but I mentioned to Owen just before the show. We have the Golden Demon winners from Essen Spiel over the weekend that we're going to have a quick look through, because some of those are nuts.
Yeah,
absolutely nuts. But first up, hobby. Jake, what have you been up to hobby-wise this past week?
I've been working on. I'm playing in a new D&D campaign. A friend of ours is putting together a big thing after Granite State Comic-Con. A bunch of us were kind of hanging out, chatting, and it was a lot of like, man, we don't get to game as much as we'd like to. So a friend of ours is putting together a big. There's a specific term for it. I forget what it is, but it's basically like, Dave, I know you've played D&D, and Owen, have you played D&D? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. So so our friend Bree is organizing this whole thing, and what it's going to be is there's no limit to how many players she can have. I think she's capping it at like 30, but there's really no limit. So the idea is that she's running it almost like we all work for like an adventurers guild.
All right.
So she has like 4 or 5 DMs she's working with. So she'll post, one of the DMs will be like, hey, I want to run this thing. And then there's a Discord server that we all get invited to. And someone will be like, it's like, oh, goblins have invaded the South End. And you're like, oh, well, I want to play in that. So the first 5 or 6 people that sign up, that adventure contract is full. A GM will take it and run it. And then it's like, oh, like there's a ghost that's haunting the 7th ward. And it's like, Owen's like, I want to do that. I'm like, I don't really need that one. Dave's like, I'm going to do that one. 3 more people fill up. As soon as that one fills up, someone else runs that one. So we're all part of the Adventurers Guild, so we can all be in different groups and stuff. But I was like, that seems really fun. So yeah. I picked up the new Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook, and I've been using that with the new updated rules to make a new character. So that's been kind of, I don't want to say all, but like a pretty good chunk of my hobby. And then I think I talked last week about trimming out my Magic's collection, and I've done a pretty good job with that. I'm just about done now. And then yesterday I picked up these.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Those are both out of print, but I was like, oh, those are cool. So I was like, I'll grab those. They're used. Yeah. So Josh is right. It's called West Marches. So that's the style, but I guess it's like much more open. But Bree's done a ton of work on the back end, making sure that like the Discord works, and there's like an admin feature. So all the DMs will have admin access, so they can like log in and kind of add people to their party and like disseminate information. And then it's open to all the players to like pick the jobs they want. Again, it just seemed kind of neat. I was like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds fun. So should be good.
That does sound pretty wild. Owen, what have you been up to?
Well, I posted some of it to your Facebook page. I think we'll see some mechs a little bit later. Those unfortunately are not within arm's reach. The other thing I've really been getting into airbrushing. This was my first Nova in 2024. That was, I mean, bordering on a spiritual experience. I mean, I've been to Adepticon, I've been to some of these larger cons. The quality of hobby there I didn't know how much better it could get, and Nova has set that bar sky high. So really got inspired. I picked up a bunch of airbrushes, so I've been just kind of playing around doing some testing with different airbrushes. I've actually got some here. So this is a new color shift paint I'm trying out that I'm putting through my Patriot. It's probably not showing up great on the screen.
There we go.
Awesome. But this is it's a Holbein artist acrylic. They do a color shift. It is the smoothest, just buttery, silky. I cannot say enough good things about it. It is extra in terms of cost. It's about $50 a pot, but I mean, wow. It is magic. I like one and done. I love it. I'm sure I can probably get something similar for a quarter of the cost if I go to Turbo Dork, but haven't found that paint yet. So just kind of, luxuriating in that, but trying to tell myself it was worth the investment. Otherwise, it's been hard at work putting together just some stuff for the Kickstarter. We also are running a narrative event at ArmorCon in Marlborough, Massachusetts, in about a week and a half. So working on some handcrafted terrain for that, just trying to have a really fun kind of 1v8 arcade game on Sunday. So just need to get a slightly larger table than I normally bring ready for that. So just doing that. How about you, Dave?
Awesome. Well, thank you. Nice segue there. I would just also mention, so Owen and our friend Chris done a fantastic podcast series called it's the Dead Wargamers Society.
Yep.
So it's a Dead Wargames Society. Sorry. So it's all about war games that are no longer being actively supported by their original manufacturer. So you can definitely go and check that out.
You guys big into Dreadfleet?
So funny you should ask. It hasn't come up yet. We are nowhere near as active as it used to be, but we are still doing 2 to 3 podcasts in a row as kind of like little mini seasons. Our next season is actually on fleet games. We've been getting a lot of requests to help kind of shout out the X-Wing Armada people. Lots of people love those games. Unfortunately, they're no longer supported. So we want to do what we can to get the word out. If people are interested, get them to that community. But as part of that, let's do some other fleet games. And actually Dreadfleet / Man of War were the other kind of next highest on the list thing we're talking about. So we might in the future.
Excellent. Cool.
Armada's in a weird spot. I get a lot of this because I'm, as a store owner, like we're on a lot of the mailers and stuff from Asmodee and Atomic Mass and all those guys. And the rumor has been that game isn't going away. They're not getting rid of it. They're not doing anything new for the foreseeable future. But people think that that's just to get them over the next probably 6, 8, 10 months of like launches. And then they're going to try to like circle back. But I mean, that could take like a year. It could take 2 years. Like nobody really knows, but like you can still get just about everything from Asmodee. They're not like not printing anymore. They're just not making any new releases. So
yeah,
it's like semi-supported. It's really weird. So
yeah, and like so I actually talked to some folks at Nova about Armada because I was working the 40K room helping set up terrain. One of the guys I was with was there specifically for Armada, so natural part of conversation. He had mentioned that there were some concerns from the community on rules balance, that they hadn't loved what AMG had done. That's one person. I can't speak to it personally, but it seems like the community is taking some effort to, if not like rewrite rules, maybe do some community get some agreement on kind of what's fair for events. So if you're going to travel, nobody has a bad time at the event.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Maybe we can reach out to last week's guest and he could have like an Armada sub page.
Tutorial. Sure. Something I realized that I forgot to do at the start was say hi to everybody in the chat. So we'll do that now. Hi, Jez. Hi, Richard Ralph. Jez. Oh, sorry. Jez says that the films that he was working on are finished. So he'll be joining us each week for a while now, which is really good.
Jez, you let us know if you need Dave and I to be Space Marines or extras in the upcoming, hopefully, Eisenhorn series. You let me know and I'll do it. So
totally. I will be Slick Devlin.
Oh, that'd be great. I'm
down that padded vest, 2 pistols. I'm down for that. Richard Ralph is here. John Steining's here. Dave Hummel is here. Scott's here. Luis is here. Cal's here. Josh. Hello. Alan Borthwick's here. He says, hi all, happy lunchtime. I guess we're almost at that point of the year when we switch daylight savings between North and South Hemisphere. Excellent. Hank is here. Hello, Hank. Josh Sawyer has joined us as well. Says better late than never. You got plenty of time, Josh. We've got the whole rest of the show.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Awesome. And Josh says, new Drop Fleet Commander? I don't know whether he's suggesting you should cover that, but that seems like it's being supported. So it's not a dead thing anymore.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody who's on, make sure you guys do the whole algorithm thing. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, hit the bell, do the thing, like, make a comment, whatever, share it somewhere. Also, this episode, you might have noticed things are a little bit different over here on my side. So we're not just brought to you by the Army Painter. This episode is also sponsored by Sunshard Embren and the beautiful Owen and his team have decided to do that. So we're thankful for that. Weird Army Painter update. So some kid came into my store a couple weeks ago and he was like, hey, I talked to you guys at Nova and I listened to one of your shows and you guys are always talking about Army Painter. Like, is their paint really good? And I very politely was like, look, Dave and I don't have to like be sponsored by anybody. I was like, we kind of get to pick and choose. We like their paint. So when we talk about it, it's because we like it, not really because they're our sponsors. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, Dave's flashing off some sexy new stuff. Not quite as cool as Dave's Dragon, but pretty cool. But yeah, like, so this kid came in and he was like all excited about Army Painter and he's like, where should I start? And I was like, well, what do you want to use? Do you want speed paints? Do you want Fanatic? And he was like, I don't really know. So I explained the difference to him and then he ended up buying, I think he bought a most wanted of one and like the mega set of the other one. And I was like, that's pretty good. Like, I think you'll be in good shape with this. I think he bought the mega set of the Fanatic and the most wanted set of the speed paints.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of cracked me up. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm glad somebody's listening to us. So.
Fantastic. Awesome. That's great. This is cool. Sorry. Scott says, how Jake, you cast one of those big, tall, creepy scroll typewriter.
What? No, dude, I'm gonna be a Space Marine, man.
Awesome. Just says, how awesome would that be? Lots of pouches and straps and all those characters. They're based on the mini. Yeah, loads of work for Jez. That'd be great. Fantastic.
Yeah, they're just gonna make Jez. I need you to life field him up. Just like cover him in pouches from head to toe, so we can't see his ankles or his wrists or his waist.
Excellent. And Joshua Hatch has joined us. Owen, is Joshua your teammate on?
No, he's a mate from Massachusetts. He runs a lot of games in Central Mass, so okay. Good guy. But no, he's Andrew Reddy is the other half of Immanetize.
Cool. Excellent. I knew there was another person. I couldn't remember the name, so I apologize.
Okay.
Fantastic. And Jess says, as they stuck me on their IMDb, I can actually say what it was. It was 28 years later. Awesome. Parts 1 and 2. Fantastic. Nice. I love that series. Excellent.
Wait, cool. What series?
The 28. So there's 28 days later.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then 28 weeks later.
Yep.
And now they've done a 28. They're doing 2-part 28 years later.
Nice.
So, yeah, very cool stuff. Awesome. Good to hear, Jazz. Excited. But yes, so the Army Painter, of course, are our season sponsor. We are super excited to be working with them. And yeah, if you head to their Instagram page, you can check out 5 of the dragons that have been painted by other folks. That use the hashtag #WargamerGames.
He comes in what? He's in the mega set?
The
Wargamer set.
He's in the Wargamer set. Yeah,
Okay.
the Wargamer paint set. So, but yeah, definitely cool there. Let me get to there. Radio. Next up, so going all the way back to that super smooth segue that we then spoiled. Owen asked what I've been up to. And as I mentioned, I've got this these guys. I stuck them on their bases, and during the show, we're going to have a quick chat about how I should be painting them. And I'm going to paint them up. And last week or the week before, Scott shot me a message. Scott Radham shot me a message and suggested that we have another Build Paint Play challenge. So Jake and I are going to talk about what we're going to do for that, how that's going to work. We'll probably have something that runs through to the end of the season, so mid-December. But the winner for that will win this Shardborn warband painted by me in December. So keep an eye out for that. Next week, we'll start talking about it in the Facebook group. We'll put up the rules, all that sort of thing. And we'll probably mention it each show. But yes, so excited about that. And of course, we'll be talking more about the Shardborn later in the episode. I have also been painting up some arbitrators, some Adeptus Arbites.
Nice.
I would have always said Adeptus Arbites, but apparently in all of the GW, the Black Library audiobooks that I've been listening to, it is Arbites. Is how they pronounce it. I'm not sure about that, but let's go with that for the moment. Regardless, the models are super cool. They're a lot of fun to paint up.
I think my favorite thing about this is you can see. So, like, let's be honest.
Yep.
Games Workshop basically started because there's a bunch of fans in a garage who were like, I want to play Lord of the Rings Battle of the Five Armies. And you're like, cool, I'm going to make elves. Another guy was like, I want to make humans. Another guy was like, I'm going to make orcs. And then they're like, let's make this into a business where they just make armies for people. That's what Warhammer Fantasy basically is. And then when they put out 40K, they very specifically talk about, well, when it was Laser Burn, they talk very specifically about how like it's clearly inspired by like the Starship Troopers novel and the Aliens movie, like, you know, so they loved H.R. Geiger and like all that stuff. So there's so much sci-fi stuff that's like sort of packed into it, which is kind of the joy of that game. You're like, oh, there's stuff from everything. And the Adeptus, the great part about these guys is they're literally Judge Dredd. That's not an accident. Like they are supposed to be Judge Dredd. So I love it. You're like, oh, what's your fan? And you're like, I really like Judge Dredd. Well, then you can. 40K is also for you, kids. Like, I love it. I love these guys.
It's one of those things. Like, if you're gonna have a mask of some sort that comes down over your face, it's gonna cover your whole face, right? If it's gonna be protective. But no,
it just comes to here.
You got to see that square jaw underneath.
I've got to be able to yell stuff at you, or have a cigar while I have my helmet on.
That's true. But yeah, but these models are super cool. They're a lot of fun. Really exciting them.
Maybe the Arbites they'll dip.
Yeah, they probably do.
You can't dip if you have a full face mask on. Like that's
well, you can. It's just tougher. You end up with it'll start swirling around.
Oh, that'd be gross.
Yeah, I didn't say it wouldn't be gross, but you can certainly still do it. Anyway, also, I think last week I mentioned that I was showed off that I was painting up this Inquisitor on the left and a priest on the right and the weapon servitor.
Is she Hereticus?
No, she's what do you call it? Xenos.
Xenos, okay.
She's going to be my radical Xenos.
Yeah, radical, nice.
Yep. So yeah, she's going to lead the unit that has the Ratlings, the Squat, the Ogren, and the Jakero in there. So excited to have those done, and these two guys as well. So I got an Enforcer in there, and the Ogren from the same squad. So 5 on the shield.
It's so weird how his muscle, like his bicep, just like cuts off.
All right. Well, yeah, but it sort of bulges over the top of his glove, his gun glove, kind of thing. I'm sure that there's not a lot of sort of soft padding inside there, inside that gun glove, but yeah, it is pretty intense. But I'm excited to have those done. I've got 5 more. I just paint up for the next to finish that first arbitrator squad off, and then I've got another squad of them. And then I've got round about another 10 or 12 models to paint, and I should be getting close to 1,000 points.
Nice.
They're pretty inexpensive. But, excited about that. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. I think.
What do you use for this is for 40K?
Yeah.
So what are you using for rules for the Ogren? Can you run like a single Ogren?
No. So in the squad you can take 5 or 10 regular inquisitorial henchmen.
Sure.
And they can have like for every 5 you can have one with a plasma pistol, one with a eviscerator, one with a mystic stave, and then if you want to, you can also add a if you have 5 of them, you can add a gun servitor. If you have 10 of them, you can add 2 gun servitors. So essentially I'm going to use the Ogren as a gun servitor.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, so basically same kind of stats as the dude in the middle there. He's bigger, he's got that, but it doesn't matter. It's just a cool model.
I love it in the old White Dwarfs and stuff. I love all their short story blurbs where they talk about the Ogrens and like they all love like the Emperor's like this like friendly like sun god that like loves them, and like the commissary, it's like, yeah, like if you do what the Emperor tells you, it means that he loves you, and they're like, oh, that sounds great, and they're like, and you'll get rations, and they're like, oh, I like rations. Like there's a short story where like this Ogren gets dragged back to like the surgical tent, and the surgeon's like, how is this guy still alive? And he's like picking out like all of this metal out of an Ogren that's been hit with a bunch of like shrapnel weaponry, and he's like, he's filling up a bucket, and he's just like, he shouldn't still be alive, and he's like, oh well, you know, we barely have any painkillers in him now. He just said that I told him if he holds still, like we'll get him a ration kit. And so it's like waiting patiently while he pulls out all this metal. Like I love it that they're like these giant like mindless hulks that are just there to like smash stuff because the Emperor likes them, and you're like, that's amazing.
Yeah, they're good. They're great. So yeah, been messing around with that, and I'm gonna end up doing some Death Watch veterans as well, so I can bring along Thunderhammers to attack vehicles and their flyers, the Corvus Black Stars, to attack vehicles, because otherwise there's nothing much else to do. There we go. Alan says, Jake, it was shuriken stuck in him. Yeah.
They're so it's like all the old little lore blurbs like are the best. They're like some of the best stuff ever.
Yeah. Hulk not mindless. Hulk is strongest.
But
moving right along.
Dave, the head you have on that, does that come as part of the kit? Is that like the Bulgren head?
It's a stock. I'm not sure if it's probably is Bulgren. Yeah. I never really sort of identified.
Do they, because aren't there some without the masks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think some people might say, oh, if it's Bulgren, it has to have that. And I'm like,
No, I don't think so. The only reason I ask is I know when they did back in the day when they had the Forge World Ogren kits for the Astra Militarum, they all have those like mask things.
Right. Yeah. No, these you've got a mix. They're a mix in the box. Nice. But yeah. Cool. Okay, moving right along. What do we got? Okay, yes, we said that's right. We're gonna race through these.
This is incredible.
Yeah. So we'll try not to gush too much about these, but I know I let out beforehand that we're going to be looking at this. But so Golden Demon 2024 Essen Spiel was on over the weekend. A friend and author of Volume 10 of the Art of Roman the Pat was one of the judges. So it was really cool to know that he was involved in that. But yeah, this was 40K unit or kill team gold. It's a fantastic Deathcore Krieg piece. And I love the doves flying off to the sort of
Yeah, those are from the Celestine kit.
Yeah. So they just it's that hope and joy flying off to leave.
Well, the best part is like they're flying into like the godlight beams, like coming down through the clouds. Like even the background's great. There's like a some kind of Titan off in the background.
Yep.
I'll ask the trolley question. So do we think the background was AI or no?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think it was.
No, it looks incredible. I mean, it looks hand-painted to me, and yeah, no, I think great piece. The background certainly elevates it, but yeah, no, really, wow.
Beautiful.
There's so much character in these guys. Like it's obviously it's the Kill Team kit. It's been pretty heavily converted. There's a couple of really good conversions in there, and then like the banner is from the what do they call? I keep want to call them. They're the guys that replaced Inquisitorial Stormtroopers. The Scions, Tempested Scions. So
it's been shaved down and reworked.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
and then like all the zombie bits that he stuck in there. That's a bunch of stuff from like I think the zombies that were in Curse City. I mean now they're the current zombies, but it's the zombie bits from that, and there's some other stuff mixed in there. I see like there's another Krieger helmet down in the corner, and there's like some rope and stuff, and there's like some rats.
We won't analyze the whole thing, but folks can head to Warhammer.
It's phenomenal. Like it is such a good job.
Also look, but Jez says, bloody hell, there was a crater in the film Tolkien that I worked on that was full of corpses like that. Well, grim.
Yeah,
very much so. Large miniature was this awesome Venom Stalker. The Night Lord's Venom Stalker there with the awesome lightning bolts. Speaking of grim, again,
it's pretty gory.
Gory is the order of the day.
I don't think I ever noticed that there's a tongue coming out of one of the template, like the portals on the back of it.
Oh yeah, it's delightful.
Yeah, I don't like this thing at all.
It's delicious. Fantastic. And single miniature.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Dang.
Yeah,
I especially like it's such a weird flex, but I especially love the non-symmetrical background piece that he cut. So like the angles are out, and it makes him look even bigger.
Yeah, it does. It gives you a really interesting perspective, and kind of messes with that, and you feel like he's up over the top of you.
Yeah,
but he does look great. And Jez says these are all going to be ridiculous, aren't they? Yes, they are.
Pretty much.
Unit or Warcry Warband for Age of Sigmar.
That's awesome. Who doesn't love dinosaurs riding dinosaurs? I mean,
what's the way to go?
The greens on the Raptors are so good.
Yep. Absolutely. And just a lovely variety as well in there.
Yeah, they're all slightly. I mean, that's the nice thing about green. Like green matches with itself, so you can have so many different greens, and it never looks clashy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, those ferns are beautiful too.
Yeah, that whole base is amazing.
Base. Scott says Lucas Saba has his own mini company, and he's a brilliant sculptor too. Been working on a bust from him for LVO. Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Make sure you show that to us, Scott. I know you will, but we're excited to see it.
There's some cool little pops in here that I think are really nice too. Like the skinks are all like nice, like gem tone.
Yep.
And then everything else is kind of like emeraldy forest green kind of vibe. And then there's like little pops of like the lapis on the tail bands and little bits of gold on like their weaponry and stuff.
Yeah.
This is a great piece.
It's a great balance too. Like your eye gets drawn to the reds, but it's easy to wander into those really bright yellows. But nothing ever gets overwhelming. It's a really, really nicely done piece.
I never noticed that all the Raptors have like a lip piercing, chin piercing thing. Like they all have a little tag hanging off of them.
Yeah.
These are great.
I know which one's yours.
He's got that classic triangle thing too, or like a double triangle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, this is awesome.
So large miniature war machine for Age of Sigmar. So this is the Troggoth King. And this is the piece that won the Slayer Sword. So
very nice.
Brilliant. Well worth going and studying this much closer. But
you see, like in the water feature down below, he actually has little fish, and there's like a shield.
Yep. And a skull. Could be a skull.
I mean, it's not a Games Workshop model if it doesn't have a skull on it. So
yeah. But this is beautifully done. I painted one of these earlier this year, and it was nowhere near this. I thought I'd done a pretty good job, but
mostly because Dave didn't do the fish feature and a water feature,
or a lot of the rest of it. I didn't spend anywhere near as much time as he did, but
what's the Dave? Having built this model, what is the thing that's like on the left?
On the left of what?
That little whatever that is. What is that little red thing?
Oh, this is a part that he's put on for the base. These are flying bat squigs.
Oh, nice, very cool.
I don't know where it's from, where they're from.
I think that's the Warhammer Underworlds kit, if memory serves.
Yeah, is that like the Mologs mob?
Yeah,
okay.
Something like that. But so that's what that is. It's not actually part of the Trug kit, but cool. Just something he's added to the base.
Yeah, I love that Trug has like an old one lizard man relic like on his back.
Yeah. Well, he fell asleep, and then like for eons, and that was constructed on top of him because they didn't realize he was a troll.
He's basically a troll version of the what is it? The Engine of the Gods.
Essentially,
the big dinosaur with the focusing crystal on its back.
When he woke up, that was there, and he was like super pissed. So, but it's all good.
Oh, wow.
So this is the third year in a row that Albert has won gold in this category.
This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm going to move along before we start analyzing this because we could be here for weeks.
Oh my god, you do like the only thing I'll say is like he did such a good job with the textures.
Yeah.
That like inside that cloak, like that looks like tanned hide. That's crazy. Or like the wooden thing to the left.
Right along.
Just like I'm not going into the detail, just the textures, like just the level of detail he got.
It is amazing. Absolutely. Nicholas Rubens Mortensen. Nicholas won 3 trophies at this show. He won a gold, a silver, and a bronze.
Is this Mighty Zug?
It is Mighty Zug. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, this is the Forge World resin piece.
I like that his shoes actually look like sneakers. That's kind of great.
Yeah. For sure. But no, this is a beautiful piece, and there's some other great angles on Nicholas's Instagram page and our own paints.
That's awesome. Again, all the wear. It's the wear is what always like really blows me away. Like tones are great. It's the wear. It's the sheer amount of like how many layers he had to put on like the shoulder pad and like I got to do all this blue and then make it look chipped up and then go back and touch up the blue and then it's just crazy.
Yep. This one is diorama or duel. So this is a Space Marine attacking a flying hive tyrant.
Oh, the hive tyrant's like upside down. I was like, what? I was like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, it's crashing back into the water. It's just an amazing, incredible dynamic piece.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm hoping there's better angles than this that we can look at, but like,
yep. I would recommend going checking out Urka Machio on Instagram, and you'll no doubt find some other awesome things.
That's nuts. Yeah, the reds on the wings really pop because his armor is almost the same color as like the carapace of the hive tyrant. So
yeah. Jez says, "Do people have to meet a horned gentleman at a crossroads to be able to paint like this?" I don't have to, but it helps. Speaking of Dreadfleet, James Taro of Taro Model Maker painted up the Bloody Reaver here.
That freehand, I mean, knowing the size of that model, that is mind blowing.
The freehand, the tiny rigging, well. Spectacular. But,
there is a lot going on in this model.
Yep, there is, and that the water effects,
are
spectacular as well. Absolutely
cool.
beautiful. So awesome work there, James.
That's phenomenal.
Nice. Jordan Toner headed up Saruman
with the Palantir.
Yep. And you know how you're talking about texture, Jake? This is another one where you want to go and have a really close look at this model. The texture on those robes is amazing. Nice. Yep. Joshua Hatch said epic scale, and they go with Dreadfleet. Was that a bingo card? I don't think it was.
Yeah, somebody's like, what have I not painted?
Yeah.
And he's like, I've done Games Workshop, I've done Warhammer, I've done 40K, I've done Old World, I've done Middle Earth, I've done Blood Bowl, and then he's like, the only thing I haven't done is Dreadfleet.
I think in the epic scale category, James won a gold with a Titan in Chicago. So it probably was that sort of situation, Jake. Surprise people. What happened? What hasn't anybody done?
He's like next year I'm going to do an Inquisitor scale model.
But beautiful work here from Jordan. This was a great and unexpected piece as well. So Necromunda gold.
Wow.
Escher ganger there out in the ash waste. So it's hopped off their cutter. But it looks brilliant.
I like the weird like lizard dog things.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. They are awesome, aren't they? There's a little bit of Riddick going on there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You gotta love that. It's like, well, how do I know she's Escher? Well, first of all, she has a cool haircut. Yep. Second of all, she has leopard print somewhere. So in this case, it's on her jet bike. And you're like, well, that's awesome. I mean, that's how you really know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool haircuts and leopard prints. That's
where it's at. If you got those two things, you're all good. Open competition.
Nice.
Yep. So Harlequin jumping over, attacking this Trader Guardsman.
That loss in the damn Guardsman is about to have a really, really bad day.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I guess a worse day because it's
going to have a continuation of a really, really bad day.
It's the same day.
Yes. But yeah, brilliant work here. I love the detail, depth of detail on the basing as well. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, the base is like the third miniature.
Yeah. Yep. And I would say the best of the three. It's my favorite part of it. But awesome work there, Pierre. That looks great. Neil Hollis, one here with his Horus. Neil Hollis, one with Horus Ascended. Nice. I love it in the sort of the steps there. He's got the same. He's sort of done a bit of foreshortening there. He's pushed those steps back in. Okay. But he's got that lighted look like the artwork. The Horus.
Oh yeah. Even like the marbling on the columns is really good too.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? The dark green or the black green marble. Beautiful.
It looks really good because it like frames it out. Like he didn't really do his armor black. His armor is almost like that deep green.
Yeah. Yep. There's that wonderful connection through it. Scott says no backdrop on Neil's entry. Good choice. So Neil Hollis is the one who in Chicago did had the AI background on his Eldar. I've kind of forgotten.
Oh right, yeah.
Yep.
Exarch.
The Exodite.
Exodite. Thank you.
Exodite. So he didn't go with a backdrop on this one.
He was tired of hearing about it, so he's like, "Fine, no backdrops."
Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Josh. Exodite. Cool. Angelo DiCello.
Very nice.
Yep. Awesome.
Dang.
Angelo does loads and loads of fantastic old Warhammer Fantasy style miniatures. Spectacular work.
Yeah, this is great. Yep. I think one of the coolest things is the subtle scroll work in the background of the red of the flag.
Right. Yeah.
And like the gold icons on the flagstaff, those are incredible. That gold looks so rich.
And
I also like the giant book that's being carried by the dwarf on the left.
yeah,
Like he's like, yeah, boss, I'll carry you. And yeah, sure. Why don't I grab your book of grudges while we're at it? It's another 50 pounds.
let's carry everything. Everything. It's because there's something like Angelo's 70th demon win.
Oh, dude, just stop. Let other people try to win. Come on.
No, keep going. If they're all awesome, I want to see more. Baptiste did this Underworld's Warband.
I always like these models. This is my favorite warband. I think they look the coolest. It doesn't matter who paints them. It doesn't matter what they look like. I'm always like, those are great.
Yeah.
I mean, Baptiste did a phenomenal job on these. These look incredible. Again, the textures, like the bat wings. Look at the guy's wings. They look insane.
Yeah.
But again, these models are so good.
Yeah. Yep. They're absolutely awesome. I love them. And I love that the Batwing guy, because he doesn't have a lot of armor going on, he got the red boots.
Yeah, well, you kill that guy first. That guy obviously sucks. Like,
yeah, well, he's the sidekick, right?
Yeah, he's the worst.
But they look fantastic. And Youngbloods. This is Youngbloods Gold.
That's pretty great.
It is amazing.
Wow. The shield is great.
Yep. Like 15 years ago, this would have been a Slayer Sword winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gold in Youngbloods.
Wow.
Can a Youngblood win the Slayer Sword?
No. But I mean, if this model had just been entered in like Age of Sigmar single, but yeah, no, spectacular work. No, open category and Youngbloods are two essentially separate competitions. You can't win the Slayer Sword if you've only entered in those, or winning best gold for those. But yeah, beautiful stuff. But yeah, already loads and loads and loads of photos around online. Go and check them out. Some really excellent work. Awesome. So we've run a little bit later than I expected. Sorry about that, Owen. But
No, you're good. You're good.
We have had cool, sexy models to look at. But next up on the slides here, we're going to get ready to jump in. So is everybody ready? Is everybody had their fill of Golden Demon? Now let's talk about... No.
Yeah, I mean, no.
No. Fantastic. Joshua says, did anyone check IDs? I suspect they were checking at entry, but
did they change Youngbloods, or is it still, what is it, 14 and under?
No, it's 16.
It is 16. Okay, all right.
Yeah. I think it's 16 and under. But yeah, all good. Fantastic stuff. I think they had over 1,000 entries. So pretty much like Nova Open's Capital Palette, we had over 1,000 entries there. But yeah, absolutely amazing stuff. Very exciting, and I'm glad that it all went off reasonably without a hitch. So, Joshua says legal painting age changes in Europe. Sorry, I didn't realize that's what I was saying it until the end. Yes, 18, I'm sure. But yeah, beautiful stuff, folks. And looking forward to checking out Golden Demon at Adepticon next year. Yay!
Amen.
But now let's get on and talk about your upcoming game, Owen.
Yeah, glad to. Thank you for the opportunity. So where to start with any game? Let me tell you about the world the game takes place in, because it's a bit different. And it looks like Dave wants to say something, so I'm going to shut up.
I was going to say, so yeah, if you give us the 30-second pitch that includes talking about game size, game time, all that sort of stuff. And
yeah, sure.
Then we'll delve deeper.
So Sunshard Embren, it's a post-apocalyptic fantasy tabletop war game played in a 2x2 with D20. Somewhere between 3 and 8 models per side is pretty typical. You can finish a game in about 45 minutes to an hour, very reasonably. Easy to learn, difficult to master, hopefully, and we hope we are doing some unique stuff in the fantasy wargaming space.
Excellent. Cool. That is a very nice, concise. How many times did you have to say that at Nova?
I don't even want to try to remember.
Awesome. But no, so I think the key things for me there are like you said 3 to 8 miniatures.
Yep.
Cool. That's something that most folks can paint up over the course of a week or two.
Yep.
If not a really busy weekend. And games that I'm really getting into games that have that 1 hour, that 45-minute 1 hour turnaround. So you can play like 2 or 3 games in an evening.
It was funny. We originally designed this to be on something like a 3x3 or 4x4 table, and the feedback we got early in was it was too crunchy to have a game that big, and everyone that we talked to really wanted a game they could play on their kitchen table. And 2x2 is about the footprint where that makes sense. Any larger, it gets more complicated.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. Excellent. So yeah, clear and concise. Well done, Owen. Jake, take notes. Says Scott.
That's not what I get paid for.
Fantastic. Awesome. And Jess says this is all of this is my favorite flavor. So, fantastic. So yeah, let's talk about the world.
Yeah. So, to be clear, I did not design the world. I got brought in to help with miniature game design and also painting and terrain building. So this is really Andrew Reddy's baby. Unfortunately, Andrew couldn't be here tonight, but do want to honor him. He really loved the idea of a hollow earth setting. This actually came to him based upon his love of terrariums, of all things. He likes the idea of kind of like what happens if you have a self-contained world and then something happens. So it was an interesting conceit. So the conceit of the game is there's a hollow earth fantasy setting. Imagine any typical D&D setting. So, knights and adventurers doing daring do, dragons, orcs, you name it, it's here. The sun's in the middle of the world. It has basically, half of, night, half is day. So sometimes it's bright, sometimes it's dark. And what happens if the sun explodes? So if you go to slide 2, we have some art of what happens when sun go boom. Sun goes boom.
Oh now man, I like the sun.
It was cool.
we were joking how to pitch this to Gen Z players, and it was Bad Vibes Sun Kaboom was the name of the game. But no, so it turns out the sun was actually made of crystal, and shards of the sun have now fallen to Earth. These people in Embren, the world that we're living in, don't know why it was attacked, but it appears to have been attacked by what was a giant bone-covered dragon. When the sun exploded, the dragon got taken out. You can see kind of its debris around here. And from that debris and from the portal the dragon appeared from, there's a gas called blight that's filling the world. This is kind of like a necromantic plague, so not full-on zombie, but it's really painful and your flesh starts falling off. It's not good times. Right. However, if you're near one of these shards of the sun, that doesn't happen to you. So now everyone that's survived this calamity is trying to find these shards of sun for A, preventing the blight, B, growing crops around it. So it's a post-apocalyptic setting where people are looking for these giant glowing crystals. Outside of looking over cliffs and brooding, I did want to give people a flavor for what it was like, living in the world. So if you go to the next picture, you can kind of see an adventurer going down into what we call the blight sunk. So adventurers may take small pieces of crystal with them to help protect them from the blight and to light their way, but you can see the dense fog this human traveler is going to. Why might someone go away from the protective light of a crystal in civilization? Well, the crystals don't last forever. They start burning out over time. So there's always a need to go find and recover these crystals and bring them back to settlements. That motivates the majority of the factions that we have in the game. So we just wanted to have some art to kind of demonstrating what this might look like for the daily daily life of someone in the world.
Right. Very cool. I love the look of this piece as well. The goggle. You're always a big fan of goggles. But yeah, if you're going to be searching through mist and fog, having that sort of protective crystal is going to be great.
I like how you had David goggles.
Oh yeah, it could be anything. Just as long as it's goggles, we're all good.
Hey, we can stop here. I'll take the yes and roll credits.
Win. Awesome. Fantastic. Jez says it's a great sounding setting. Eventually, all that crystal will be gone. That's kind of grim.
Well, unless people can figure out how to reactivate it, I would say thematically, one of my favorite games, one of Andrew's favorite games, how we actually met each other was playing a game called Dark Age. And Dark Age, amongst other things, was a really cynical post-apocalyptic
That's our buddy
setting.
Brian.
Oh yeah, yep. No, it's how I met Jake for the first time. Dave actually called me up as a Legion member and sent me over to see Jake and Adam to help demo some games. So funny connection between the three of us with that. No, it was kind of a grim setting, and I feel like there's a lot of other grim settings in wargaming. Our setting that tonally tends to be more optimistic. So okay, this bad thing happened, but it can get better for people, and maybe there's some hope. I can't promise that every faction, every person in Embren's going to be okay, get a happy ending, but I think there's a chance there, and we hope that drives some interesting drama in the lore.
Yep, that's great. I was going to say as well. That's how Dark Age is how you and I met.
Yep.
I met you at my I think it was my second Dark Age tournament, the games and stuff. And you schooled me hard.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So hard that I was like, I like the way you used your warband there, your St. Mark warband. I was like, I'm going to get me some of those.
Yeah, it highlights something that I keep in mind during development of the game, and I feel like there's kind of two big motivations for wargamers. You've got people like yourself, strongly motivated by hobby. That's kind of where I am now these days, and people like me a decade ago who are really strongly motivated by strategy, figuring out the best way to optimally do something, solving that puzzle. I was definitely a lot weaker on the hobby back then, and I think when you're developing a game, having an offering for both those types of players is probably a wise thing to do.
Yeah, very, very definitely. I think for me, that game that we had it wasn't just, I like the way you played those, I need to get some of them. There was a change in the way that I thought about activations. And thought about the way I activated my models during a game. So it was quite a pivotal game for me. But going back to some of the cool stuff for the art.
Cool. So let's talk about the 4 factions we're starting the game with. We'll be going to crowdfunding in November, and we have 4 factions we've fully developed that we'll have on offer there. This is one of those factions. So these are what we're calling our Delvers. These are human survivors of the sun exploding who had access to airship technology, and they actually floated up to where the sun was and found that there's actually a lot of artifice left. So there's still some crystal in the center that you could see in the original art, and there was a lot of high technology that they don't fully understand, but they are trying to learn and take advantage of. So these are a group of people that went from a feudal theocratic society into now basically a hyper-capitalistic society, kind of like, kind of pre and post-industrial revolution in England. When you live on this citadel, which obviously protects you from the blight, plenty of food, plenty of opportunity, you actually have to pay by day just to be there. And if you fall behind in your payments, you can get kicked off. One of the ways you can stay on, earn some money, is actually going in a Delver crew. So you will go out in an airship, go down into the Blight Sunk, and try to find these crystals to help keep things going up on the citadel. So we've gotten kind of jokey names for all the factions based upon demos. Our demo people seem to call these steampunk helldivers, and that's probably a pretty good summary of how they operate. So it's highly skilled operatives going down. There's definitely a range attack focus. You can see the large crossbows in the picture. They're actually, you can see here, floating down from an airship. They all have pieces of shard on their back that they've configured a harness which actually lets them kind of go up and go down from an airship. So that's them. They, from a gameplay perspective,
you can see this guy floating down, which is neat. Great.
Yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on teamwork in the faction. So heavily range focus, lots of benefits for models activating what we call a party. If you played Dark Age, this is something similar to something like a squad link. So you can form ad hoc squads in the game. So if one model is within 4 inches of another model and they share some types, they can actually activate together. So normally the game is I activate a model, you activate a model, going back and forth. Party is one of the ways you can break that up. There's some pros and cons to that. The benefit, particularly here, is if you have abilities that give you a benefit from doing it, you get to realize those abilities, and you get to do a bunch of things before your opponent can react. The downside is, from an activation economy perspective, now your opponent at the end of their activations is probably going to be able to do a few things without you being able to react to that. So it's one of those kind of interesting puzzles on the tabletop. When does it make sense to do this? When does it not? So yeah, that's kind of the high level overview of them.
Cool. They have they give me real Rocketeer vibes.
Yep. Yeah. No, we when we were working on the concept art, Rocketeer was a big influence. Our concept artist actually pulled in a lot of Slavic imagery, which I thought was interesting. So you don't see a lot of that in like knights or steampunk stuff. So just trying to do something a bit off the beaten path, and hopefully we hit the mark there.
Yep, excellent. Scott says, between this, Morkborg, Kingdom Death, did you guys all just think, in the grim darkness of the far future, there's only war with just for complete pussies?
Mercy.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, cool kind of Rocket Man look. It's a bit like taking the king's shilling amongst the press gangers of the Navy. So yeah, absolutely. You've got to go and work, earn your keep.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. And Caitlin has joined us, loving the vibe of these guys for sure.
Yeah, they're super cool.
Awesome.
Excellent. So next up.
Next up, we have the Remnant, and this is something that Andrew came up with that was creepy, and I worry about him based upon him developing these. But these are the elves of our setting. The elves in the Embren setting aren't human; they're actually more like mimics. That mask you see is actually a bone plate. That is their face. They don't have a face. They don't breathe. They don't eat. What they do is consume emotions of other creatures. Before Sun Goes Kaboom, these would typically be entertainers, bards, generating emotion from people around them and gaining sustenance from that. After the sun exploded, there was a faction of the elves who decided, we need to go back to the old ways. They used to be more monstrous, and they think that that's probably the better way for them to go. So now, rather than singing a song and living on the happiness of others, they'll murder people and live on the agony of the people that they're murdering the heck out of. So you can think of these as somewhere between wood elves and dark elves in the Warhammer 40k setting. And much like that name implies, these are our glass cannon faction. They are going to hit you hard, well above their weight class, but they are an elite force. And every loss you take is super painful. But if not checked, they can really run riot over somebody.
Yep. I think if you had told me that these were like elves or wood elves with masks, like bone plate masks, I would have been like, I'm in. However, as soon as you describe them, I'm like, I'm double in. If I had more thumbs, I'd be plenty of thumbs.
So the other, and this is a bit of the background, but it's a nice thing that 3D printing technology lets us really have some fun with. The big fellow in the middle, the thing that almost looks like an owl bear, that's a model called the Hound. In the lore, this is what all the other elves are striving to do. So they are going to go hunt, and if they kill enough difficult to kill targets, they're able to undergo a ritual that transforms them into a bestial form. So that's kind of what they're all working towards. Now, in a normal war game, a larger model, something, if most of your stuff's on 25 millimeter bases, something on a 40 or 50 millimeter base, you normally spend more money for it. And as a result, in the game, you probably want to make that a few points because people are going to be sad if they have to spend a lot of money to get a cheap model.
Sure.
3D printing, less of a concern because we're not transporting models, yada, yada, yada. So this is actually the cheapest model in the faction. It's a 1-point model. It's like a Warhound in Warhammer 40k. It is a missile that is going to run at you and attack you as aggressively as it can. And a quirk of the manufacturing process lets us really harmonize the background with how something plays on the table. So that was really important to us. And one of those, hey, we are doing 3D printing. It's going to be a little bit different than conventional manufacturing, but maybe there's some upshots to that too. We feel that's one of the upshots.
Yeah, excellent. Jez says, folk horror kind of look. That's right up my street. Matt Cobb says, who's got 4 thumbs and loves murder elves? That would be me. And Jez says, anything with antlers is automatically cooler.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, you've just seen Scott's question.
Yeah.
When we'll be showing off minis and renders later, we will. It's all about minis for me. I'll back your Kickstarter because you came on here, but I'll do it ironically if the minis aren't wicked.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't think there's any need to do it ironically, but we'll move on to the next faction. What do you think about these guys, Jake?
I think they're cool. I do like, the more he described them, I'm like, they're kind of halfway between, like you said, like Dark Eldar and the Fish Elves, the Deepkin. Because they've got the whole, like, we're not quite real. We need someone else's, like, things. But also, like, we're going to torture you. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, cool. I was really excited at first because I'm like, oh, they're clearly elves. The guy on the left in particular, it looks like he has a hood. And then he's wearing, like, a chrome mask. So I was like, that's rad. But if they don't have masks and that's their face, I was like, still cool. No, I'm with you. Yeah, anything with antlers, like antlers, just makes it better. Antlers is the best crest on a Bretonian knight. It's the coolest thing. Like antlers are the best. So,
Josh says 100% advantage that you don't have to paint the eyes.
Exactly. There's somebody in your team who's like, dude, I don't want to have to paint any faces. What if we made a faction that doesn't have any faces?
You will be shocked at how few faces this game includes.
Well, I think we've seen the helmets here. We've got the bone faces here.
There's the crystal creatures that don't really have faces.
Yep.
So yeah, next up after the so these are the remnants.
Yep.
And then so then we have the Shardborn.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you were kind enough to show off the minis here. So all of these concept art pieces are actually the miniatures in the starter set. So if you want to know what you get in a starter set, this is what you see is what you're going to get. So the Shardborn, these are our take on an elemental faction. In the background, when the sun exploded, it caused a lot of strange energy to be released and disturbed the connection between dimensions. The fairies in the setting were really disturbed by this and devolved into basically a black goo. That goo, when it comes in contact with a Sunshard, though, turns into a creature you see here, a Shardborn. And that tends to have an elemental affinity. So we'll have some creatures like the beetle-looking fellows there who are affinity with fire. And they do a lot of... the ones in the middle. Yep. So those are called blazes. They cause burning damage. They're super, super aggressive. You have Tremors, the fella coming out of the gate there. Those are earth elementals. They're really, really tough. They have a lot of tricks they can do. And then you've got kind of the Captain Planet elemental to lead them all, the Locust. So that's something that's affinity with all elements. He's their leader. He has a lot of fancy abilities. From a gameplay perspective, these are our Trixie faction. They actually put down terrain elements when you deploy them that have a special rule called sharded. When these models are in sharded terrain, and Jake's doing the thing I knew everyone would do.
I was going to say this with you, right? Yeah.
Yes. helps in text. But they get buffed when they're in that type of terrain, and a lot of their abilities revolve around ways you can move that terrain around or put that terrain keyword and other elements of terrain on the table. So they are situationally very strong if you can get that buff off, but they need to spend some work to make sure they get that buff off. And then they tend to specialize. So the fire elemental, really good at offense. The earth elemental, really good at defense, but not so good at offense, et cetera, et cetera. So it's using the right tool for the job. But when you can put it all together, I find they're a really fun faction. My wife called them crystal Pokemon, and now that's all I can see every time I see them. So we are working on ways to get like a old gumball machine with like fake Pokeballs and have these inside as a con giveaway at some point. But that is the Shardborn.
Excellent. So, painting wise, so obviously, I mentioned I was going to ask this question, but painting wise, and this is mainly coming from my knowledge of talking about like the Dragiri from Dark Age, where each of the faction of Dragiri had a particular color that they went towards. So the Ice Dragiri were blues, and Fire Dragiri were red, oranges, and yellows, kind of thing. Do we have that sort of thing going on in Sunshard, or is it complete absolute freedom to do whatever you like?
It's complete absolute freedom. You know, from a like studio, and it's two guys, so studio paint scheme. We'll probably land on something like the blaze are red, the tremors are dark green, the water elementals are going to be blue. From a lore perspective, the Sunshards themselves actually will change in color depending on the environment. These are intended to be things that have grown out of those, so it would be fully within the lore to have all of these creatures have the exact same coloration because they're from the same shard. So we really do leave that to what looks cool. The other thing I've seen people do, which I thought was interesting, is actually print these in clear resin and then just paint the black bits.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been interesting to kind of see what the community's been able to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Excellent. I'm developing some ideas as you speak. But,
awesome.
Yeah, looking good. I'm not sure if you saw it. Fantastic, Scott. Yes. Oh, and it can't be sharded. Empowered. Born. Pick a pick.
You can always count on Scott to like really sugarcoat it and like unveil his meaning.
Absolutely.
I can feel that pledge getting more ironic as we
as we go. As long as it's still a pledge, right?
Yeah, there's a sharded level. It's 1 of 1, and Scott's gonna get it.
Yeah. We still got time. The rulebook's not at print, so
no.
Fantastic.
I'm trying to be good. I'm reading the comments, and I'm trying to be good.
Fantastic. Okay, next up we have
the ruin. So that whole blight thing I talked about, that messes you up. This is what happens to you when you're exposed to the blight. Now, it would have been easy to just paint these as mindless zombies roaming the wasteland, attacking settlements, doing zombie things. That wasn't where we decided to go with it. These are still people. More in like a Dark Souls sense, they still have a sense of themselves. They're just in agony all the time. But there is a group of people called Blight Singers, which sound a lot like 1920s revival preachers from the South that are rallying these folks together. And they've actually found the ability to help ease their pain, but also give them benefits. Do all sorts of strange things with flesh by using the some sort of resonance they have with the ruin. So the big fella in the middle there, he's what we call the aberration. That's actually a troll carcass that he is the Blight Singer, the fellow pointing up at the gentleman on the wheel, has actually taken a elf corpse and mystically attached it to the troll corpse, and now the elf is actually steering it.
Gross.
Yeah, so they're kind of our body horror faction. They're a lot of fun. Mechanically in the game, we have a mechanic to represent the blight. Over the course of the game, if you get a critical hit on someone or you critically fail an armor save, you'll get a blight token. Most of the time it doesn't do anything, but if you get 3 of those on you, you're just dead. No saves, no healing, no coming back. That's it. This helps balance the game in a few ways against very large models. So if you're a 6 hit point monstrosity, it can be really hard to just do 6 HP to you, but weight of numbers, you'll eventually get 3 blight tokens in someone. The Ruin play a lot with blight tokens. So a lot of their models won't do damage to you. They'll just put blight tokens on you. The Blight Singer, if you end a turn near him, you get a blight token. So they can kill you in kind of sneaky ways. We hope that reflects the lore, but also it gives you a way to play that's not just go for the throat. And we hope it gives them a unique identity from another aggressive faction like the Remnant.
Right. No, that's cool. I think as I said, there was that opportunity just to do sort of a straight up another offensive unit. They're working out a new way, another way to do something different, to be able to hang in the game. We're doing it in a different way. And
and I apologize. Like our entire community, I like how this went from being like a serious skirmish game to like now there's like a Black Adder element to it, where it's like oh well, what faction you playing? I'm playing the faction that sharded, and you're like, oh cool, and then apparently there's possessed meat suits and like.
Well, I love the suggestion from Joshua, like replace Turducken with Troll Elf, and or I'll take the meat suit armor, please.
Oh, mercy.
And, yes, lots of sharding shaming in the chat. Absolutely. But I think it's very cool.
And I think a pledge level needs to have shirts that I'll make for you that say, oops, I sharded.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it. Yep. Stretch goals.
Yep. Fantastic. We heard you like elves and your trolls.
Yo, dog.
That's great. So they're the four factions that we're looking at. We've got the Delvers, the Remnant, the Shardborn, and the Ruin.
Yep.
Cool.
We also will have 4 fables. So these are models that can work for more than one faction. In the lore, communication's not so great now that civilization's ended. So there's lots of stories you'll hear over a campfire or in a city about strange things in the waste. So these are models that can work for typically 2 factions and tend to be high points, but offer you some unique things that maybe your faction wouldn't normally get. We hope that they also can be kind of bridges for people that maybe start with one faction. So let's say Jake really falls in love with his sharding faction, but
100%. Why would you do anything else?
Exactly. And he takes a fable that can work for them and the Delvers, and he really likes what that fable brings. So it in this case, the last of his name brings some really gnarly range attacks, and Jake goes, ooh, I like that. And maybe that can be the bridge to him picking up a small Delver force. So looking to have some fun with those too, but don't have the concept art for that yet. That's actually a lot of why we're doing the crowdfunding. Most of this is done and dusted, but we've got 3 Shardborn models that we're looking to finish up, as well as the 4 fables. So hoping to raise enough funds to close the deal there, and also use this hopefully as a springboard to get the word out about the game.
Nice.
Very
Scott. Cool. Scott's killing. I gotta give Scott credit in the comments. He's killing it. So first, I can't be declaring I sharded next to 2 distinguished dudes playing Twilight Struggle. They hear that, and I can tell with one look that I won't be invited over for scotch and backgammon. Come on, Owen. He followed up with, for years, mini wargaming has been edging closer to general acceptance and normalcy. Henry Cavill, Amazon, cartoons, etc. Owen just set the movie back 20 years.
Good job, dude. Good job.
Oh man. Chris, I'm gonna move 66 over there and shart on your meat suit. Oh my god. It's like rock paper scissors, only it's people meat suit shart.
Yep. Fantastic.
Oh lordy.
Oh,
awesome. So
I don't know if this is how the game was supposed to work, but now I'm super excited.
All I'm hearing is, stretch goal number 1 is now going to be, branded depends, and I think straight to the moon after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The top goal unlocks an actual wearable meat suit.
Yep.
Oh mercy.
All right, nice. So this is the Remnant. This is the Remnant.
Yep. So this is the Remnant starter. So here's just some quick peeks at this. If you go to the link in the page notes down below, you will see a link to our website. You can see some different views of these up on our page. Obviously, when we get the crowdfunding campaign, we'll have a lot more of these. Later in the presentation, we'll have some of these painted too. So if you're looking for painted, can't promise it'll be as good as the other painted stuff we've seen in the show, but hopefully not too offensive. But yeah, these are the renders of the Remnant.
Okay. So there are nice renders. Is there a scale reference?
I believe these were done in 30 millimeter. You can tell by the larger hands they are not true scale, but they're not quite full heroic.
Right. Fantastic. So I guess the question there is for the Kickstarter, for the crowdfunding, are they all, is it just STL files and
Great question.
physical rulebook, or STL files PDF rulebook? What's the story?
Really important question. So I'm a big believer in 3D printing in general, distributed manufacturing. It's part of what I do in my day job. As part of that, I really do think the way to make this stuff work in the future is going to be selling the STLs and also having a way to get that into, you know, game stores as an alternative to just direct to consumer. For the Kickstarter, we're going to be doing direct STLs, but we know that not everyone has the 3D printer yet. We're still in that transition period. So we will do some number of physical prints as well. The rule book is just going to be digital. I've been through enough Kickstarters as a consumer to know that if this game blows up, if we're lucky enough to have that happen, the rule book is immediately going to get inundated by 100x the number of people playing it than did during playtesting, and we're going to find a bunch of stuff that wasn't right. I'd rather get to a point where I know the rule book is solid before taking it to print than gambling and trying to get it done now. So full digital on all the rules. Those are also already up for free on the link below. The models will be for sale for the first time here. You can get them physical from us. You can get them digital from us. After the Kickstarter is done, we're hoping this is a one and done from crowdfunding. This really will help us launch the game financially, but once it's self-sufficient, our goal is to then sell print licenses to game stores. More and more stores, in my experience, actually have 3D printers, and I'd like to include them give them an ability to get revenue from this. Because, even before I started a game company, when I was just playing skirmish games, if it was something from crowdfunding that a store couldn't sell, it always felt kind of bad going in and being like, hey, my buddy and I are going to play this game. You're never going to sell it to us. Bye. I want to give stores an opportunity to get in and make it make sense for them. So really, really, really low cost licensing. The cost of a printed starter and you're good for years. I don't want to be chasing people to buy licenses. It doesn't make sense to have this be like a Patreon $20 a month thing. That's just painful to manage. So we're trying to keep it simple. And I really do think this is the way it's going to go, particularly for folks overseas. I mean, Dave, knowing what people pay in Australia, if we can make it less painful for folks down there, I think that's a win for everybody.
Yep, absolutely. Fantastic. Looking through, there we go. Kate says, when's the campaign? I have a mighty need. Oh, there we go. Macedonia. Jez asked another important question. Are you doing the rulebook as a printer friendly?
Yes. So at the moment, it is less printer friendly than I would like it. But before we hit the campaign, I'm working in layout to make this much more printer friendly, particularly with regards to color usage.
Right. Yeah. Cool. One thing that we can talk about after the show as well is there were ways to do like a full, beautiful looking book and strip a lot of that out to create a printer friendly version too.
Yep.
But yeah. Excellent. So yep, very cool there. I think what's the next image that we've got? Is it we go.
Yeah. So how do these look painted up? And in my humble hands, this is how this looks. Probably not even going to win a Youngblood Golden Demon. I think I might even be too old for the folks over in Germany, but yeah, here it is.
Yeah. No, it looks
Dave, when are they making an old blood category?
It's like a Saurus old blood category. I think.
Yeah, if you're over 50, you can join this category.
Well, that's the old world category.
Because you're like, my eyes are getting bad, so I need to be in an old blood category.
Fantastic. I think that's all of them really. Just enter. They'll put something next to your they'll put a little card next to your entry.
Oh, nice. You get a little star. We'll be like, what's that star mean? It means they're old.
Yeah. You just assume that it means whatever you want it to. I didn't see what was on the card. I couldn't read it. My eyes are too bad. You'll be fine. But no, this looks great, Owen. I think I love the green element in the like the antlers and the bone face.
Oh, thanks.
That you put in there. Yeah, just just really ties that into that I guess, elf aesthetic.
Yeah, we try, there's a lot of different ways you can do bone. We were going for something that was maybe a little bit on the creepier side, so something vaguely haunted was what we were trying for here. Hopefully it lands.
Right. Yep. No, I think you got a great result there. But no, it looks awesome. Oh, there we go. Scott asks, is drive-through RPG an option for the rulebook? I've had great luck through them and nice paint. Oh yeah, and nice paint.
Yeah, we've thought about it. I wouldn't mind putting it up as a print option. My concern is how quickly is it going to be irrelevant for people playing the game? So probably not as part of the Kickstarter. If there's a big push for it in the Kickstarter, though, I'm open to changing my mind there. We will, and spoilers, assuming we hit the first stretch goal, we will also be including physical printed cards with the printed miniatures that we send out. That's one of those chicken and the egg things. I'd love more time in the oven, but at some point people want those to play the game, so we'll take a shot putting them out. Long term, I do, whether it's drive through, there's a few other options for print on demand. We do want to make those available because I know for myself, I too am an old blood, and I really like having the physical printouts there as opposed to just printer paper stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Fantastic. Next.
So I wanted to show something new here. So we actually haven't shown this off before. This is the
nice.
Blightborn mini for the meat suit faction. So this little creep
don't like
is
him.
he can give you a lot of high fives. So this is a siege engine that the Blight has made. This is a work in progress sculpt. This is on an 80 millimeter base. He is the big nasty for the Blightborn. He is the only model in the game that does not care how much blight he has, because he has just thrown it off himself. So not terribly accurate with his attacks. Those hands, can't reach all that far. They're not the best, but he's really designed to be attacking walls. He does a lot of damage if he can connect, and he is, not literally unkillable, but he is very, very difficult to put down.
Right. Fantastic. He's a guy that's got 4 thumbs and loves murder elves.
It's that guy.
Yeah, loves wearing murder elves. But yeah, no, fantastic. No, that's great. Thank you very much for debuting him here.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity.
What are the crazy little things hanging off his horns?
Those are sensors.
Those are bells, so you know where he is.
Okay. A little head shake.
Those are actually filled with blighted material. In the lore, this is him kind of carrying the blight, carrying some fog. In the rules, they give him the special ability when he hits a model with an attack, he actually puts a blight token onto himself. And at the beginning of the turn, he can remove one of those to heal himself.
Right.
So the more you just kind of try to chaff him up, he might not kill something, but he'll slap it. And then whatever you do to him, he can just kind of keep healing through.
Right. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. That's gross. Love him. And yeah, Matt agrees. Yes. Sorry, Dave. He's the guy with the 4 thumbs. But no, brilliant. And yeah, I asked you to throw in some pictures of cards and we can talk a little bit about the rules.
Yep.
I know that previously you mentioned Dark Age. Is there a similarity, a crossover,
Yeah, it's a rule set that's heavily inspired by Dark Age. It's my favorite game of all time. Andrew and I met playing it. Andrew loves Dark Age as well. We didn't want to just file off the serial numbers and redo Dark Age, so that there are a lot of differences. But let's start with the similarities. So much like Dark Age, it's I pick a model, you pick a model, go back and forth, alternating activations. Each model has action points, so you can take as many actions as you have action points with a given model. So that's the AP number there. One of the things you can do is you can move up to your speed, the second number in inches. If you end a movement in base contact with a model, you get a special action called a charge that costs you 0 AP. Lets you make an attack that hits a little better and does a little bit more damage. You've got 2 defensive stats: evasion, so that EVA number, and armor. Evasion is how dodgy you are, how hard you are to hit. Armor is, if you do get hit, how tough you are. It's a really simple D20 system. So I'll go through how attack rolls work, but we can use this guy's card as a real simple example. Last two numbers real quick in the stat line, though, are resolution. So this is how committed you are to doing what needs to get done, mostly used for scenario actions. And then HP is hit points, how many times you can get hit before you're going to be dying. So math is super simple, much like Dark Age. Rolling lower is better. So a 1 is a critical success, 20 is critical failure. Let's say two hounds were attacking each other. You go down to the weapon there, rip and tear. So the attack ability AA, the first number there is basically your attack skill. You're going to add the evasion of your target. So in this case, another hound would be 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. You'd roll a d20 for the attack. If you roll 8 or lower, it's a hit. 9 or higher, it's a miss. Let's say you hit. Strength is how much damage you do. The defender will now roll a d20, and you're going to start with the armor, subtract the strength of the weapon. That gives you a 6, and you're looking to roll a 6 or lower to save against that attack. Really, really, really simple mechanics there.
Okay.
We talked about forming parties before. Above AP, you'll see the word peon. Every model has a type. In a warband, you can form a party with any model with the same type as you, or you at the beginning of the game, you nominate a model to be your leader. You can always form a party with your leader. The exception is if you have the solitary special ability, which the Hound does, which says no party for you. You're too crazy. You're not a team player. Not going to happen. So
do wounds spill over? Like you said when he hits, he does 4 damage. If I'm attacking, like let's say there's 2 hounds, this guy only has 1 hit point. Do they spill over? Does this one hound take 4 damage?
Oh, good question. So I should explain that better. So the strength of the hit is 4. So that determines how easy it is to pass or fail your armor check. If you fail the armor check, you just take a single HP. So if you super fail it, or if you just barely fail it, it's always only 1 loss per attack.
Okay.
So it's a good question though. So what happens when you lose your last AP? You go into a state called dying. There's a lot of healing in the game because it's a small game. It helps if things stay around for more than a turn or two. So when you're dying, if you take 1 more wound, then you're dead, but you're on the ground. You don't get to activate, but you still have a chance to be healed at that point.
Right.
Word.
Cool. Okay, so down the bottom, just below special abilities, we've got HGT.
Height. So we have a pseudo 2D line of sight system. So rather than doing true line of sight, which gets complicated in my experience, everything is given a height. So terrain, models. So can I see over that building? I don't know. What height did we decide it was before the game? Is it height 2, 3? If it's 3 and you're looking to see something 2 and you're a 2, nope, can't see through it. If you're a 6, it's height 1, looking to see another height 6, easy peasy, see right over it. So it's an abstraction, but we find it keeps things moving pretty quickly.
Okay, cool.
Next to that is the base size of the model. So this is what size base you put it on. I will note that we do provide, themed bases with all the STLs, but obviously if you've got leftover Dark Age, War Machine, what have you bases lying around, we don't discriminate. So that's what size the model should be on. And then WL is short for Warband Limit. How many of these can you take in your army? So you can take up to 4 hounds in a force.
Okay, cool. I was going to say, the 3D printed Shardborn that I have are on like a cracked earth base,
yep,
which looks super cool. Very nice. Excellent. Okay. We've got the special abilities listed there. So solitary, as you mentioned, means they can't form a party.
They can't be the leader. They can't form a party. They're loners. They don't play nice. Poorly protected is an ability we put on pretty much every 1-point model that says you die after 2 blight tokens rather than 3. It just keeps them. It makes them easier to kill. I should note when you're dying at the end phase, if you're dying, you gain a blight token. The necromantic plague is more attracted to you because you're close to death. This just helps speed up the game. That way, if you flood the field with 1-point models, it doesn't take forever for the dying stuff to resolve. Okay. And powerful charge is a fun one. If you take a charge attack with him, in addition to the normal charge bonuses, you actually get an extra D20 for your attack, and either or both of those can hit. So you basically get to make double attacks on the charge.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's cool. I think, so obviously the Hound is a remnant model.
Yep. So that was what's similar about the game, The Dark Age. Let's talk about what's different, what's some unique stuff for us. So, core rules, they do what they do. It's a simple, easy pick up and play system. How do you make it interesting for a 2x2 and give it some replay value? One of the things that always drives me nuts about playing skirmish games is custom dice, custom peripherals, if I need a card deck, only because, like a lot of other people that play a lot of different games, hey, I got an itch to play this game. Do I have the cards for that? Do I have the special thing? And that can be an impediment to play. So this game, we made a conscious decision, no special widgets, no special dice, no cards. One of the things we wanted to do, in addition to the main missions, was also give people secondary objectives. So rather than having a deck for randomization, what we did was we gave all players have access to the same 6, what we call deeds, secondary objectives, as well as 4 specific faction objectives. One of the things that these can do, in addition to giving you an alternative way to get victory points, is give you a resource called Fortune. This is similar in some ways to command points from like a GW game, in that you can use it to spend to get a reroll on a model, or you can use it to use special abilities that are associated with each faction. So there's 3 general Fortune abilities. You can always use them to reroll an attack roll, reroll an armor save for a friendly model, or remove a condition during a model's activation or the end phase. Each faction gets 3 special faction rules, and this is where you can do some kind of fun things. So, for example, the Remnant have the ability to put something called the Hunter's Mark token on a model, which gives you massive buffs to hit that model. What you can do with this is actually kind of start daisy changing through your use of Fortune, and that leads to some kind of interesting storytelling on the table. So let's say I'm a Remnant player with a Fortune. I noticed that if I kill a model based upon one of my Remnant deeds for prey, if I kill a model with a mark target token, I get a Fortune back. So what I can do is spend a Fortune, put a mark on something I have a good chance to kill. Now I have a better chance to kill it. Commit to trying to kill that. If I do kill it, I get that Fortune back, and now I can either put another Hunter's Mark token out, or I can use that for another ability, et cetera, et cetera. So it gives you an opportunity to do some different things beyond just what's printed on your card. It's also another hook for us for balance, because if something's too strong, this is another way for us to kind of tweak, or we can give the model a really strong faction, put a really strong model into a faction that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of interaction with the secondary objectives or with the Fortune abilities.
Okay, to keep that balance.
Exactly.
Okay. Excellent. And you've gone through, you've got all these in place at the moment. They're all being play tested.
Yep. So yeah, we've been kicking the tires on these for about a year. The change from a 4x4 to a 2x2 made us readjust, but less than I was concerned we would. We're finding that everything feels pretty good right now. There definitely are some factions that I find new players don't find terribly strong, and old players find very strong, which is probably healthy for the game to have some opportunities for skill expression. It also speaks to kind of what do we want to do with the game. I come from like a War Machine and Dark Age background. It's natural for me to want to make this, the most competitive balance, blah, blah. As an older person, that's really not where my heart is now. It doesn't hurt anything to have a well-balanced system. That is what we're going for. But longer term, where I see support for the game going is more narrative content. So in addition to the core rules for the Kickstarter, we're actually kicking the tires on a narrative scenario. That'll be the capstone of our first release for kind of narrative scenarios. These will have rules for single player play if people want to do some solo play games. So you'll be able to play through kind of 3 story scenarios. And the 4th scenario will be against like a raid boss. You can either play that solo with a large army or play with a bunch of friends. The perk of this, again, taking advantage of the technology, is you have to print a lot of the custom scenario model. For conventional models, that can be kind of a hassle. For 3D printing, easy peasy, no problem at all. So, Andrew is currently printing out 24 of the Wildfire Blaze. So these are blaze that are extra fiery for the scenario running out at ArmorCon. We've been having a lot of fun with it. We get to change the rules to be a little bit more arcadey. We hope other people enjoy it too, but really hoping to polish it up and then have everything looking solid for November.
Excellent. Jake, did you have any thoughts, any questions?
No, I mean, I understand where he's coming from. Like, as somebody who both played Dark Age and actually worked as part of the Simon demo team, like I definitely see a lot of the parallels. I see where you're kind of drawing inspiration from in terms of like keeping it quick and easy and having it card based and golf rules like low roll wins. So I think anybody who's familiar with that game will appreciate that. But since Dark Age was not super popular and not a lot of people played it, the good news is anybody who's never played it will still appreciate it because it's an easy system to learn. So it's really cool. It's a nice little bit of nostalgia for anybody who is a fan, but if you're not, it's a solid rule set, and it's a cool place to start from. And it makes the math really easy. Like once you understand how to do it, like we Mutant Chronicles is very similar. It's a lot of like the guy attacking versus the thing that you're attacking. You take those numbers and you add them together, and then that gives you your target. And you're like, oh well, I got hit. Like, what's my save? And it's like, okay, well, it's the strength of the weapon plus your armor, and then that's your target. Like, so the math part comes really easy, and anybody who's playing Toy Soldiers is not gonna have a problem with this. So I appreciate it. But yeah, I don't have any. Do you have any like other ideas that you maybe haven't like made public that you're thinking about? Like, obviously, don't tell us, but like, are you planning on rolling out more factions, or is that like a Kickstarter thing, or is that like a future thing?
Great question. So we started development of 10 factions. 6 of those are pretty much done. 2 are in the oven with active playtesting. 2 I've got the core concept for, but they definitely need a lot more time just polishing, getting those ideas 100%. That's part of what I'm waiting for, to have all those models out. So all the special rules are signed, sealed, delivered. Then we'll go to print with the rulebook. High level, we'd like to go kind of wide on factions versus deep on factions. So right now, everything only has 7 to 8 options you can take, excluding fables. I can see that capping around 10 or 11 per faction. I'd rather have this be something like Necromunda, where it's really easy to fall in love with a faction, have it have a very specific identity, but there's not a zillion things you need to do to play that faction. You can get in for under $100, have a fun army, and hey, that's fun, but you know what? That other thing looks really fun, and it's not that much to get into that other thing. That I think is kind of how, like, that's what I want in a game. So that's what we're putting out there.
Right. Excellent. I was going to ask the question about expansion and how you were thinking about that. So glad that you got in there and got that one, Jake. I think that's a great. It is a great plan, and I love the fables idea. The linking to other factions is great. There was a time when Weird were putting out like posse boxes, warband boxes that had a particular focus. They were a particular faction, and you had the master and the henchman, and the henchman worked well with that master, but he worked even better with a master in a different box.
Yep.
And so you'd be encouraged to get that one. And that henchman that was in that box worked well with the leader that was in that box, but he worked better with a different guy. So it was was from a marketing standpoint, it was a really great idea.
I mean,
we might look at it and go, as consumers, well, I don't want to be encouraged to buy more, but it's like, it's toy soldiers we're talking about, people. We're always going to buy more.
So the story I always tell people, and again, showing my age here, like most of us, I played Warhammer 40K as my first war game, played that in middle school, left the hobby for a while, came back around 2006, and all my friends were like, yeah, let's play Warhammer. And we bought the book at Barnes and Noble, and we started pricing these out, and we were like, we're gonna have to spend $200 to get an entire army. This is crazy. And then we all went and played War Machine, and yeah, we definitely didn't spend more than $200 there. So yeah, it's at the end of the day, this is really a hobby company for Andrew and I. I mean, we take it seriously. We if we sell something, we are going to deliver on it, but we're not looking to make this our full-time job. This is something that we want to be fun, and as a result, I don't really feel pressured to do something like Weird did there. I'm not saying that it's bad that they did it. It makes sense, but I don't have a staff I have to pay. This is kind of my hobby now, so we tend to be boring in the sense that what we offer is what we offer. We try to offer it at a fair price without a lot of tricks.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's great. Fantastic. I realized that we did have one more slide that I'll pull up just quickly. There we go. The logo. So make sure folks keep an eye out for that. As we've mentioned before, down in the show notes, there is a link to both to Immanetize Games, to their website, so you can go and check out more about the factions, different views of some of those renders. And also in the notes below, there's a link to the Sunshard Embren official Facebook group. So you can go and check that out and keep an eye out for when the Kickstarter goes live. We'll be mentioning that here on the show, of course. But you can all go and check that out and sign up. I think sign up for the newsletter on the website.
Yep, yeah, you'll get a free STL when you sign up. It's a locust, so if you're like Jake and you just want to start sharding sooner than later, he is your man.
Excellent. Cool. Sorry, I just realized I should have come back to that view there. The locust is much easier to. But yeah, I got some ideas coming on for how I'm going to paint those.
Awesome.
Yeah, it'd be definitely good. Excellent. Fantastic. So yeah, thank you very much for that rundown. Owen, you're good to stick with us for looking at some more painted miniatures?
That'd be awesome.
We love doing. Okay.
Now it's community time.
Community time. Be prepared. Now I have to go through and
David and Scott are in the chat, like rethinking their financial decisions over the years. That you could have had an army for $200.
Yep. You got to start early enough. If you go back in time, that can totally happen for you. Here we go. So first up, we have a piece from Adam Weller. So Adam posted this morning. So this is, I think this is titled "The Assassin." But yeah, a nice fun piece there with an assassin trying to push away the.
Yeah, what dead body?
Fun. What dead body? Exactly. But I was saying here, I love the I really love the backdrop that it's thrown in there. He's done a great job on the model. It looks fantastic. But
I really like the purple and the teal, she has like the breechcloth and then like her head wrap, but then her whole suit is basically purple.
Yep.
It almost looks like she's wearing a Dune like Fremen still suit, but like her feet are like exposed.
Yep. I think her midriff is exposed as well. Just above that.
Huh. Do we know who makes that miniature? It's a really, really nice piece.
It is a nice piece. I don't know. I think I'm pretty sure Adam would have mentioned it in the what do you call it? The post, but I snagged it so quickly this afternoon that I didn't pay attention, and I apologize for that. But yeah, beautiful work there, Adam.
I like that.
She looks great. Next up, we've got Borthwick.
Nice.
So talking about a little bit of
a very different RoboCop than the guy I remember.
Yeah. So this is a Judge Dredd Securabot. So this is from Warlord Games. But yeah, definitely a very different RoboCop. It does look fantastic.
Beep boop.
Beep boop. I love the glowing security across the hat. But no, beautiful work there, Alan. Some good non-metallic metals going on. And Alan also painted up some more models from Cyberpunk Red. It's great.
Nice.
Press drone controller.
Very nice.
Looks really good.
That's cool.
It's got some goggles. Loving it. But no, Alan's been painting up quite a lot of Cyberpunk models recently. So he's really enjoying that the magenta and vibrant green basing. But yeah, this looks good. Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, nice work there, Alan.
I like that.
Next up, Kate. Kate's been on a big terrain kick this week.
Very nice.
After finishing up,
hopefully they picked up one of the was it the Necromunda, the AT crawler, the thing that's like a semi that like pulls things around.
All right, yeah, the Ridge
Yeah,
Oh,
AT
no.
Ridge Runner. Yeah.
The Cargo 8 bridge
Yep.
roller. Yep. But no, I love these. I think most of my when I paint up most of my cargo containers, I paint them all in a very similar fashion. But I love that Kate's sort of rolling the. There's a whole bunch of different shipping companies who are involved in shipping stuff on this world.
I see a whale in the Utani logo in there.
Yeah, yeah, it's just snuck that in.
I like that. Like whenever you see like a container ship go by, there's always like so many different ones, and I was like, even in a future as drab as the 40K universe, there's no way that all the containers look the same.
Right. Yep. Kate just said I got it 2 days ago. She picked up the cargo ridge roller.
Nice.
So yeah, nice stuff. Yeah, looking great there, Kate. Cal's been
I don't like
painting
these.
some more wild demons.
Nice.
Did we work out these are Otherworld? I think these are.
I think so. Yeah.
I was on a big Otherworld kick at the moment. But yeah, looking wild. Anybody want to make suggestions as to what those sort of hands are made of? Are they ferns? Are they something else? No? Okay.
No, I'm good.
Moving right along. Oh, sorry. Satyr Arts.
Satyr Arts,
Not Otherworld. My bad. Thanks, Cal. And Stephen, who's joined us. Very cool. Spider Demons and Nope.
Yep. I'm out. And for that reason, I'm out.
I'm out. That looked great. Chris Gorka. Nice. The Bad Batch.
Yep.
From so this is the Star Wars Legion version of Bad Batch. Is there a Shatterpoint version as well?
There is. They're slightly different. The Shatterpoint one is bigger, and there's a couple models on like one base. So like Wrecker is holding up a piece of wreckage that he's like blocking stuff with, and then I think Tech and Omega, the little girl, are on one base by themselves.
Okay.
So but yeah, that's Wrecker on the right, that's Tech in the middle, and that's Hunter on the left.
Okay, cool. But yeah, they look looking great there, Chris.
Yeah, they look sick.
Yep, beautiful work. And Chris also painted up. Is it Delta Squad?
Yes, I believe so.
Nice.
And yeah, I must admit, I grew up with stormtroopers just being like black and white.
Yep,
black and white. Maybe that little orange pauldron.
Oh, the pauldron for the sergeant on when they're on Tatooine.
Yep. But I am loving all of the colors being applied in various different ways with different squads, different units.
I think one of my favorite ones, and they're not out yet, but there's a Shatterpoint unit called, oh God, what is it? Is it We're Not Taking Prisoners Today? It's Thrawn and his guys.
Oh yeah.
And I love the way his troopers look like. It's like they're almost like the 13th Company. You know what I mean? Like from Spaceballs, like they've been like patching up their armor with whatever they can. So there's like red tape holding like their pads on, and there's like they've used like metal as like filler when there's like a cracked pad and stuff like that. So I like that you take the classic black and white stormtrooper trope and then you break it up, whether it's like this with color bands or with battle damage. I just think it really brings something to the mini. So
yeah, excellent. Cal and Stephen are having a conversation about old minis in the folks want to go and check that out. But beautiful work there, Chris. They look great. Awesome. Chris Kemig is working on his what's this one called again?
That's the Blade Captain.
Blade Captain. Okay.
He sent me photos today. He's basically done.
Okay, fantastic. And did he leave the plume white?
He did.
I know that he was asking a question in the group. Should he go with purple for the plume or white? But with the purple on the kilt there and purple on the cloak, I think white was needed for that plume. But yeah, his gold is really nice, wonderfully rich.
Yeah.
Got that great.
Is that a? Forgive my ignorance. Is this a Emperor's Children model or
It's a custode.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, custodian.
This is the newest custode model they've received. This is the custode blade captain. So he's like running forward. The arm that isn't there, he has like a sword, and then he has like a cloak. So he's kind of like he's not a captain, he's like a hero.
Okay.
So he just looks a little different. And Chris wanted him to kind of stand out. So he was like, "Oh, should I do it red or purple?" And I was like, "You should do it purple. If the whole unit's gold and red, you want to have him be different."
Yeah.
And I mean, he did a great job on this. It looks awesome, and the completed pictures look fantastic.
Awesome.
We'll show those next week, no doubt. Fantastic. Sulin Liu has been painting, working on a big word bearers, Horus Heresy word bearers commission.
Those are all cataphracti. Oh, it's a commission.
Yeah, this is a commission. So, as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong. Maybe I got it wrong, but I think he's doing this as a commission. But yeah, working on wonderful cataphracti here. Excellent work on the damage and the weathering and the chipping, and I'm really loving the
all the freehand scroll work and stuff, like the all their crazy like we have to draw chaos on everything.
Yep. The all of the astrological chart kind of symbols that we have.
Nice.
Great. And the serrated sun here as well.
The chipping on that power fist on the left
over here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's seen some work. But yeah, absolutely awesome. But yeah, as Stephen says, Sulin always brings it.
Yep.
Beautiful work there. Jeff Smith. So Jeff showed off his setup with the War Paints Fanatics last week, but he's now has his washes and speed paints in the racking too. And I think
he made a really good comment. I was listening to them on Saturday, and he was saying that like a lot of us nerds, we have a predilection for like organization and things being in the right order. So when he bought the set, he put them away in the rack in order. So the top left, like paint whatever it is, WP001 is matte black, and then he like worked his way across, and those are all in order, like numerically. And I was like, that's pretty great.
Wow.
Nice.
That makes me feel good. The fact that you just put them away in order and it's the rainbow. I'm like, that's awesome. That's the way it should be.
So you don't like my arrangement of paints, Jake?
Well, where it's just like thrown in a bucket. I do not like that.
It's not a bucket. It's a tub.
Oh, sorry. It's an off-brand Tupperware.
It is off. It's Sterilite. Thank you. Sterilite would like to sponsor us.
Yeah, you let me know what they say.
Fantastic. But no, lovely looking stuff there, Jeff. And Jeff's been working on. So this is another commission that he's working on, which is Dungeon Saga. So I think he's just finished this off, but these minis look crazy.
What are they?
I don't know.
They're for the Abyssal Dwarves for Kings of War, and in Dungeon Saga, I don't want to speak to it, but I think they're part of that kind of nasty Obsidian Golem, angry faction.
Okay.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
They look like a mobile art show. Like you'd put your art on the easel and they would like show it off.
Yeah. It's got to be fireproof though. Fireproof.
Yeah.
But, no, they do look wild. I liked it because on my Votan, squad number 9, that's the shape of the 9.
Nice. Yeah.
So nice. But yeah, very nice. Excellent work there, Jeff.
Yeah, those are cool.
Next up, so John Stein painting up some more 13mm Ancients.
Killing it.
Very nice.
So these are the Principes. So these are the core of the backbone of the Roman army.
This is early. This is early on in the Roman Empire. This is
Republican.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is Republican Rome. This is not Imperial Rome.
Yep, this is pre Caesar, pre Julius Caesar. But yeah, you can tell because of the rounded shields.
Yep, and the helmets. That's like early edition.
Yeah, all of the everyone having the 3 feathers there. But looking great there, John. Really nice. And he's taking a break from Romans and going back to painting some of his goals.
Nice.
Look great.
Those are so cool.
Yep, really nice stuff.
I like that John really like, puts himself out there. He's like, I'm gonna paint characters, but not 28 mil characters. whatever this is, 8 mil characters.
13 mil. 13 mil.
15 mil characters. It's like, what? What are you doing?
Excellent. But yeah, looking great. Nice work, John. Next up.
Oh, who's that, Dave?
Is this Warlock?
Yeah, it is Warlock. Very good.
Fantastic. I read the caption and I remembered it specifically.
Very nice. Yeah, so Warlock is the offspring of the Magus. The Magus is sort of the progenitor of the techno-organic virus, and it is literally a virus that overwrites life, and then his empire then drains the life from that thing that they've turned into a robot. And the Magus gets the Magus sort of has him as an offspring, and he then decides to like cancel him, and Warlock's like, nah, this is no good. So Warlock escapes and flees to Earth, and then the X-Men take him in. He's a member of the New Mutants for a long time. He's super cool. And he can turn into anything.
Right. I was going to say with these little, it looks like little sort of nanite building block.
Yeah.
Down on the feet.
Yeah. He's super cool. He did a really cool job with the paint scheme on him, because that's what he looks like in the comics. He's sort of like blackish with like green like undertones and highlights, and then all like the glowing bits underneath. So
right. On the inside. I was going to say it's really interesting that like he can appear as anything and he chooses this.
Well, this is what he looks like in his pseudo natural form. It's like, because he knows he's supposed to be roughly bipedal, and the Magus is like a way bigger version of him, so he looks like a miniature version of the Magus.
Okay.
He's also great when they write him in the comics and he talks. He refers to himself as self. He never says I or me, and it's either Warlock or self.
Okay. Cool.
Scott, I will say the writers have gotten really good over the last 20 years. Cypher's actually one of the most important characters in X-Men because of the link he has with Warlock. Like, basically, I figure what Cypher's power is.
To read this out for those folks who are listening.
So it says, remember how Warlock and Cypher combined to form the absolute least interesting character in the Marvel Universe? Man, those are some super forgettable times. I mean, he's not wrong. There was a huge chunk of time for probably like 8 or 10 years where you're like, oh man, like Cypher's in this episode. Cypher's power is basically like he can read any language. Right. Now, they have since like stretched it so he can read, write, and understand any language, but it also works with codes, because codes are just coded language. So he can break any code. He can speak machine language, like, so they've expanded over the years, and they've actually like made his power like helpful. Like in the new X-Men, there's this whole thing where they get their own island called Krakoa, and it's a mutant sort of enclave, and Cypher creates all of their sort of like security protocols because he just codes everything. So like you can't break in anything. He's the only one that can break the code, and it's interesting. He's a weird character.
Don't worry, Scott. Jake is still talking about Cypher. Fantastic. Awesome.
Is there a Cypher?
Nice work on the paint job there, Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. This is great.
Please keep painting more of the Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures, because my education continues.
I'm trying to think. Somebody picked up Sunspot, and who does he come with?
Anyway, so Luis is close to finishing his Space Wolf Lieutenant.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or Grey Hunter, or like Wolf Guard.
That was Wolf Guard. Yeah. I know that when he originally talked about it, he called him the lieutenant. So
well, he is, but like, remember, if it's a Space Wolf, he's just a Wolf Guard.
Wolf Guard. Yeah. Well, I haven't looked at the Space Wolf index cards to see whether they have a specific Wolf Guard card. But yeah, looking great. And one thing I just noticed there is on the back of the greave here, It's got the little red and green lights, which are then casting some opposite lighting up onto the fur.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking really nice there.
The lights, the reflections off the.
Yep.
I mean, again, I don't know necessarily that those are lights on his foot, but like I think those are supposed to be like service ports.
Oh, okay.
But he painted them as if they're lights like on an airplane, like there's red and green, and they're like reflecting onto the wolf fur.
Yep. They look great. But looking really nice there. We're looking forward to seeing the
gemstone looks great.
Yeah.
I think today or late yesterday, Luis posted the base. So we'll get to see it all put together hopefully next week. Excellent. Next up, Mick Palazzi. So Mick's in Australia. Last week we saw the duck. Did he finish painting? Now he has finished off the entire sign. So it's for a mate of his, and this is going up in his game room, his friend's game room. But
that's really cool.
Yeah, this is a fun crafting project.
Nice.
What a great! I should have asked him what all of the letters were cut from. I should have asked him what those letters were cut from.
I would take a guess and say genuine pallet wood.
Oh yeah, I think it's got there, but I'm not sure if these letters are cut from that. Like, it always look like they're like cut from like a steel block. It could be just the way that he's painted it. But no, beautiful stuff. Looks great, Mick.
That's super cool.
Mick also posted some photos of from an army that he saw at a grand tournament he went to a couple of weeks ago in Orange in New South Wales.
Yeah, this is great.
So yeah, normally when you see a Sisters of Battle army that's corrupted to chaos, it's like a Slanesh army. It's very definitely gone down the Khorne route.
What? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I do like how warm the tank is on the left. Like he did such a good job like doing the yellow on the torches and then having the overspill light hit the tank.
Yep.
That
looks great there.
the sister up on the top with the berserker helmet is just great. Also, she's just up there like calmly, like I have to play a song about murdering people. Hey folks, this is off my first album.
Blood and skulls. My favorite thing on the Triumph of St. Catherine here is that the rose petals have been replaced with
skulls, of course.
Skulls. Very cool. Just quickly, Alan saying, very cool. He has to duck out. Has an actual work meeting today. Ooh.
Ooh. Well, good luck.
Yep. We'll see you. We'll see you next week, Alan. And he's looking forward to the Kickstarter. So great. Nice. Very cool. Josh says Goose Green is in the Falklands. It was a scene of engagement between the British Marines and the Argentine forces. There we go. So yes, Mick's buddy is a former.
See, folks, it's not just about miniatures. You learn stuff here too.
Absolutely. Oh, there we go. Just said it's a little tune called "It's Raining Blood."
Nice.
Fantastic. Awesome. Owen.
And these are great, by the way.
Thank you. I did a thing.
I recognize the stinger on the right, and that looks like a trebuchet on the left.
Yep.
And then I'm pretty sure that's a wolfhound.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what that thing in the back is, though.
That is a Dark Age mech. That's a prefect. It's kind of like a thug, but more specialer. The way I describe it, it's I don't know how deep in the BattleTech lore you are, but it was.
I'm a huge BattleTech nerd. Dark Age, I skipped over a lot of.
As did most people.
Because they were like, our mechs don't work. We have to fight in tractors, and I was like, and I'm out.
That's wild. That's wild that you would spend 8 years going through like collecting comics that were a little bit not interesting, but as soon as somebody has to fight in a tractor, you're out.
So Scott's talking about one character.
Okay.
The X-Men roster is huge.
I was also going to say that the model on the left can't be a trebuchet. It has to be a catapult. It doesn't have a counterweight.
Very nice. The catapult looks different. The catapult is shaped like an egg with 2 rocket pods.
Okay, there you go. Cool. But beautiful work here, Owen. They look great. And as Steve said, yeah, the great fade.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yay, airbrushing.
Awesome.
Yay, airbrushing.
Cool. Oh, sorry. Josh is also ducking out. More hobby shenanigans await. So after the show, you can go and check out Josh either on YouTube or Twitch. So JP Got Rockets, he'll be live streaming directly after us.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Good luck, Josh. Have fun. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It does look fantastic, doesn't it?
I love that the whole concept of this is what if you did the squad from Aliens, only they're orcs.
Right. Yep. It does looks fantastic.
Love it.
Like, Scott, you need to do I'm assuming that this is supposed to be Drake. So you need a female orc that's Vasquez, and then you have to do the rest of the squad. Like, that would be phenomenal.
Drake, we are leaving.
It literally has the M83 smart gun on the swivel mount on his left hip and everything. It has the targeting camera.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It does look fantastic. Beautiful work there, Scott.
His teeth are crazy.
Yeah. Teeth are awesome. Also going to mention the bases from Dragon Forge Design.
Dave's a big fan.
A lot of my a whole bunch of my of course I'm looking over now, I can't spot one, but a bunch of my inquisitorial agents are on that same base range. But yeah, nice work there, Scott. And then we've got Stephen.
That's another old school red dragon.
Fantastic dragon. Where's this one from, Steve? You'll have to let us know. Just called that last model Daka Drake.
Nice.
Yep. Fantastic. And Scott also said Puppets War has all sorts of massively IP infringing orcs. And they do have a Vasquez.
They're IP adjacent. We're not trying to get anybody in trouble.
Awesome. Steve says this is a Ralpartha 5.
Nice. Ralpartha is old school.
Yeah. It looks very cool. I love the way that you work those sort of the little scales, the nodules on the top of the head there. Yeah, looking really good, Stephen. And he also painted up this fantastic Weezard.
Old school necromancer with his cobra staff.
Cobra staff, yeah.
Dude, you gotta love the old sculpts. Like, look at his hand. His hand is like part of the staff.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But no, it looks fantastic there. I love that combo, that dark sort of purple black. Very it's very Ming.
Yeah.
Kind of look. But yeah, excellent work there, Stephen.
He's like, don't mind me, just a harmless toilet paper salesman.
Yeah, there we go. It's from the Archive Elric line.
Oh.
Sorcerer of
Pen. Nice.
Yep, beautiful stuff there.
You guys should do Underworld's sculpt.
I think those that would be cool. I know that actually Stephen and Cal have painted up. Actually no, sorry, Underworlds, not other. I was thinking Other Worlds. But yep, beautiful stuff there, Stephen. Next up, I think that might be the last one. So we get to reveal who our guest is for next week.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, indeed.
There he is.
So
dude, he's gonna love that. That's the photo I sent you. Like,
oh yeah, for sure. And Jake sent me like 4 or 5 photos of him hugging John at a show.
Yeah,
and it's the only one where I could cut it out where Jake wasn't also have to be in the photo. But it's also the oldest version of John Matthews in photographic form that we've got.
Dude, so for people who don't know, John is a legend. So he started at Games Workshop. I think, how old was he? Wasn't he like super young?
He was. I think he was sort of fresh out of college. So yeah,
I thought he worked when he was younger though. He was like a mail order troll.
Well, I think when he was fresh out of college.
Oh, see, I thought he was doing that while he was in college, and then he came back. But
Nah.
anyways, like
we'll find out
he's
next
been there
week.
forever. Like this is a guy that basically like it's cool because he started in the mailroom, and then at one point he was in charge of anything retail related in North America, and then he was the only VP, and then they added 3 more, and then when he left, he got hired immediately by Gale Force Battlefront to be their president, and then he worked for them for years and years and years. But you know, he's part of the reason that Dave and I know each other. John was my boss's boss's boss. Oh no, John was my boss's boss.
Yep.
And then this John's boss was John Stallard at Warlord.
Yep. And John was the guy, whenever I was having issues with my boss or with other people in my department or other people in the business, I would go to John to say, what should I do?
Yeah.
How should I handle this?
Yeah. Great guy, great advice. I'm easily one of my favorite people on the planet, and easily like the best boss I've ever had. Like, was so excited to have. I learned so much from him, and I'm thankful that I'm able to do what I do now. And even after I left Games Workshop, when I worked in corporate America for a long time, so many of the lessons that I learned from John are things that I applied, and they were just helpful. So yeah, great guy. So I'm really looking forward to having him on.
So and just so that you know, Scott, John can talk a lot, Jake can talk a lot. I will be very quiet next week.
What?
So, yeah. I won't be able to get a word in edgeways. So it's going to be a rambling conversation for 2 hours.
It's not like he's Ash. It's not going to be like when we had Ash on. That was problematic. I admit. Like letting Ash and I basically just go wild for 2 hours is not the best plan. But
yeah, all good. Kate says, "I love John when I had the Adventurers Guild." So yeah, Kate used to own the Adventurers Guild in Pennsylvania. Northeast trade sales for the win.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, awesome. So yeah, we've got John on next week. Should be a lot of fun. And then we're lining up some other guests for the tail end of the year. So it should be very cool. But yes, Owen, thanks very much for joining us. Super cool. Thanks for sponsoring this episode, along with the Army Painter, our season sponsor. Down below, as we've said before, there are links to Immanetize Games and to the Sunshard Embren Facebook group. You can go and check those out. Sign up for the newsletter so you get notified when the Kickstarter is going to go live. I think you and Andrew have done fantastic work. Game sounds really cool. I'm obviously a big fan of Dark Age, so the similarities will pull me in. But I'm looking forward to see how the fortunes work and that kind of thing, the abilities and fortunes. So it's going to be pretty exciting. I think I'll definitely have to, obviously because I'm giving away the Sunshard, the Shardborn here. I'm going to have to pick up the Remnants and do the Faceless Murder Elves. Be the way to go.
Awesome. We could.
I think I'm leaning towards the Rocketeer dudes.
Yeah, that's my second choice, but they'll be the ones I'll print out afterwards. But no, awesome stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and thank you so much, man, for being on. It was awesome having you on as a guest. It was great talking to you. And I mean, we were excited just to hang out and talk with you. But like the more I look at Sunshard, it looks great. I think you're going to do really well with it. There's a ton of people that are already talking about like they want to back it, they want to know more about it. So hopefully these folks will spread the word and put this out, and you can post this different places and people can look at it. So if they want to see like different stuff and hear your answers for a lot of stuff, like this can be a resource for them too. So
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. Thank you guys for doing what you do. It's been really great to see the community you both have built around just hanging out, painting, talking about games. It's really nice to have something low key like this. Relax. I love listening to the episodes. It's been tough with a young child to catch them live, but I will usually follow up. It's right in the middle of bath time, so it's been tricky, but no, it's been awesome seeing what you guys do, and I really best of luck doing this, and I hope you're able to keep doing it for a good long while.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dave, anything else we got? Do you want me to roll this out?
I think let's wrap and roll. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, everybody, thank you for being here, guys. Again, a huge thanks to Owen being on. Big thank you to our sponsors, the Iron Painter and Sunshard Embren. You guys can follow below in the links. As Dave said, make sure you post this anywhere if you want to make sure that Owen does well and the Kickstarter as well. Make sure you follow along on that link. Post this episode so people can see what we're talking about. And they can see what Owen's minis are going to look like, and sort of it'll answer some of the questions. They can see how the gameplay is going to work. I'm sure that he'll be rolling out more as we move forward. So follow him as well. I'm sure that does Sunshard Embren have like a Facebook page or someplace people can kind of?
It does. It's in the links below.
Okay, but like, what are you have all the other ones too? Like,
listen to me.
Yeah. So
Discord and Instagram and
all the socials. You know, the Instagrams, the Discords, the Facebooks.
Right
I don't know if we have a MySpace, but I'm pretty sure we don't do TikTok. I don't know. We might. But it's all on the website.
I always ask, like, I'm a neo-Luddite myself. I try to not be on social media. So, but I know that a lot of people have, like, I've talked to some people who are like, well, I don't have Facebook. And I'm like, oh, okay. So if I don't have Facebook, like, is there other places they can check it out? So, but yeah, so all that's below. And I'm sure that from one of them, you can find all the rest of the links. Everybody, we will see you next time. Make sure you paint your stuff, post some stuff, check out all the great award-winning stuff that came out of Essen over the last week. Happy October to everybody. We will see you next week. And do not forget to build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down.